It's a good idea at this point to write a quick test for what we just did so we don't have to keep submitting it. Let's make an integration test here. Let's call it users edit for the various things related to editing users. When getting started with a new test, it's always a good idea to look at what we did before, just to orient ourselves. So here's test integration. Let's look at the closest analog, which is the sign-up test. So here's user sign-up test, users edit test over here. So here's a test for invalid sign-up. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to test unsuccessful edit. I guess we could call it invalid edit, but I'm going to use slightly different wording here. Oops. Sometimes it creates that end, sometimes it doesn't. Actually, I haven't figured out why exactly. So what do we need to do here? Instead of getting the sign-up path here, we need to be able to get the edit path. So that's edit user path of user, which means we need a user. So the way we've handled that before, let's see, we can look at that here. In the login test, we defined a setup method that pulled out the user from the fixtures. So that's in test fixtures users.yaml. It's this here. So we're going to pull that user out again in this test. We just paste in that setup. And so we can do get edit user path of @user. So that's just clicking onto this page here. And now instead of sending a post request, we want to send a patch. And of course, we don't need this assert no difference because we're not going to change the user count for sure. This is just editing a user, not creating one. So let's issue a patch request to, well, which path is it? It's /user/1, which is that's the user path. So we send a patch to that, and then we need to give it this parameters hash, this params. This is the argument. So user, and anything invalid is fine. In fact, we can just copy this, the same thing. And there are lots of things we could test at this point, but I'm just going to test that the right template is rendered. So that's the edit template. Save that, and actually that should run. Here we go. Oh, one error. Oh, right, so here I did user path user. So what happened here is that I just copied from here, but of course there is no user variable, there's an @user. So let's do that. Now it should pass. Yep, now it's green. Can run the whole test suite. Oops. Yeah, this happens sometimes. There's an error connecting to the Spring server, so I found that if you just run it again, it works usually.